You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere. Hello and welcome to another episode of the pod. Hosting for yourselves tonight is myself, Kev, and I'm joined by Adam and Robin. We're going to run you through a quick review of the Brighton game, a game that, let's be honest, didn't have many highs or lows with a 0-0 finish, but we'll still break it down. And then we'll finish the pod with a preview of Dirty Leeds to see if we've made up that 24-point deficit. So let's start with the introductions. How are we doing today, Robin?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. A little bit under the weather. I think I overdid it going to Brighton, to be honest, on Saturday. But yeah, a bit of a cold and so on. But yeah, apart from that, mate, just knackered for Christmas, waiting to finish work tomorrow and have a few days break.
That's what we were saying in the group chat, wasn't it? This time of year, everyone's schedule goes to bits.
Yeah.
You got 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. To squeeze this in and actually get all three of us together was almost a challenge. But yeah, here we go. Adam, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I can second what you've just said there. Us trying to get together there was trying to find a needle in a haystack and always trying to pinpoint when everybody's free, especially this time of year. But other than that, man, I'm all good and ready to rock and roll with another excellent pod.
That is what it is, mate. We're away now. So, how do we think we got on at Brighton? Obviously, like I said at the start, the pod was, the game was a 0-0, not the most exciting performance in terms of the result. But I actually think we held our own. I mean, for the majority of the game, we actually looked the better side, albeit the scoreline didn't reflect it. I think if we had better finishers, it would have probably been a different score. But, and I think I said this in the chat, if Ayari was a better finisher, it could have also gone the other way. So, Obviously, Robin, you were down there. I'm sure I don't know if you will have enjoyed a few beverages while you were there because of obviously what's happened to you recently. But what was your take on it from the stadium?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a nice stadium. Can't say that. It's really nice down there. Brighton fans are a good, friendly bunch. It's a good crowd. A bit boring with their only song of Albion, but I was actually disappointed, like I said, after the match. I was disappointed not to come away with a win. Yes, we could have lost it, and like you say, better finishers. I mean, that was one of the things that I really want to touch on. I think that's where we need to strengthen in January. Brobby and Wilson are doing all right, but they're not really getting enough goals. And I think we need to start, converting some of these opportunities and getting some goals. I mean, I know we're going to talk about them in a bit, but you've seen what's happened with Leeds and Calvert-Lewin. He can't stop scoring at the moment. And we need to get someone in that sort of form. Maybe, like I said as well, it's time for my end to come in. But, yeah, look, it's a tricky place to go, Brighton. They've got a good home record. So to get a point there, the week before Christmas, you can't really complain.
Well, this is just it. And I mean, let's be honest, there aren't many teams that go to the Amex and leave with a clean sheet as well. So not only did we leave with a point, we actually left with a clean sheet because they do have a habit of scoring goals. Obviously, Welbeck wasn't available for them. He's been on good form. Like I said, Ayari's unfortunate. Thankfully for us, to not hit the spot. I think he had 4 or 5 decent shots. And if he lowers it down by about, I don't know, a metre or two, it'd be a cracking goal. And that's the thing. But yeah, obviously we'll talk about Leeds later on in the pod, but I agree with you. I think Calvert-Lewin is kind of proving a bit of a bargain because obviously they got him on a free and he's currently scoring the kind of goals we could do with the tap-ins and the odd extra here or there. He's in with them, but we'll talk about them shortly. I mean, Adam, your take on the Brighton game? Obviously, everything looks slightly different.
Yeah, I was going to say, our look
was TV.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it was I do agree with Robin to the extent it was we missed some heavy chances in the game. That was a given. That's nobody can sugarcoat that. And obviously, if the certain chances were put away, for me, the closest one out of the lot for me was probably Ballard. The way Ballard just stormed through and just tried to pounce on a loose ball, like somewhat of a loose ball again. And can somebody tell me he's a centre back, not a centre forward? I mean, I know when I was a left back, I was pushing up a lot, but he's literally pretty much on the goal line of both ends, 90 minutes a game. So hats off to him, and I believe he did get player of the match at the end of the game from both Sky Sports and Sunderland. So rightly deserved again. Just defensively, as a former defender, very happy with the way we defended. We controlled that area. I don't think Brighton really threatened us all that much and put us to worry. As you said, Kev, they didn't really put us to the sword. So I wasn't that worried about it.
No, I mean, look, that's the whole point of the game, really. When you look at the stats, I know Robin, you said like XG counts for nothing, and I agree with you. I'm not a fan of XG this and crosses, blah blah blah, and I mean, Wolves fans are still going on about expected points. Well, you're still on two, so you know that is what that is. But no, look, for me, I think if you said at the start of the week, this is the game where all the lads go to AFCON, other than Diarra. You're gonna go down there and you're gonna share the point. We'd have probably taken it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%, mate. You're right.
I think for
And I
me, it was
mean,
one of those things, wasn't it, where we said a draw would be better than nothing. To get a win would be phenomenal. Because I think it was yourself, Robin, wasn't it, on the preview turn on saying that when you're down there, it is quite a hard place to play, and it is like the crowd's on top of you all the time.
Yeah, look, I mean they've got a really good home record, like I just said. They play some nice football. They've got one of the most highly sought coaches in the game at the moment, linked with top jobs here, there, and everywhere. They've got this model which we're sort of loosely following in a way where you get them in young and try and sell them on. Using Brighton as a stepping stone. To make money. I mean, yeah, they've bought Tommy Watson. I must say, I'm glad with the reception he got. He got a good round of applause and everything like that, which he deserves. We owe that lad at the end of the day. Anyone that doesn't think so, needs to give their head a wobble because without him, we were looking at penalties and who knows what would have happened. We could have been, you know, lost a load of plays and be down the bottom of the championship. If it wasn't for him putting one in the corner in the, last minute of extra time there. So look, or last minute normal time, sorry, I should say. Um, so yeah, look, they buy players in like that and then try and sell them at Chelsea for 70, 80 million. Have them for a couple of years, develop them, and move them on. So yeah, look, fair play. They got a good, well-respected owner. Obviously, he's got his finger in a few pies. This multi-ownership thing and that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And if he gets bored of Brighton, or if he just keeps going with it, because there's clearly the way he's running football teams, money to be made there.
way of the market these days, isn't it? It's buy. I was going to say buy cheap, sell expensive, but that's literally what you've just said. Um, but look, I think, yeah, I'm glad Tommy did get the reception he got, and obviously I did say in the previous pod about the fact that I wasn't his biggest fan when he made the decision to leave the way he did, but forever grateful for what he did. And yeah, absolutely, I appreciate the fact that he got an applause from both sets of fans. I believe he even was being chanted as, hero after the
Mm-hmm.
game when he was doing his round. I mean, yeah, I know that word is used maybe too often, but he's gonna if we, survive this season and stay in the Prem,
Yeah.
realistically, he goes down in history as being the lad that did it and got us up and then started the journey we're now on. I mean, this is now Christmas. let's use that word, and we're sixth in the table, lads. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't think any of us had that in the
No.
preview pod of the season. I think, but all three of us, in roundabout ways, did say varying things like, Dreamland would be top half. But if anyone had said to you, you'd be in the European spots at Christmas, give or take. I mean, it depends how the season goes. Last year, it seemed to be the top eight got into Europe. This year, it might be a little bit more strict. But yeah, sixth at Christmas, lads. We're what, a point behind the likes of Liverpool and teams like that.
No,
I mean,
We're on
what?
level points with
level
Liverpool. It's just
points.
goal difference, isn't it?
No, the goal difference is the same. It's goals scored, I believe, with Liverpool.
I think it's only one, isn't it, that they've got more than us, I think.
I'm not sure, but yeah,
But
it's mad. It's mad to think, and I mean, it was like fifth place last season, got Champions League, and at the moment we're out of that on goals scored. You know, it's
If in the
yeah,
window if we get another goal scorer in, and I'm not jumping on the narrative that I've seen online that we need another striker. We just need someone else to help contribute with the goals.
yeah.
mm,
I'd happily take a goal scoring winger to help in the mix. I would probably
Well,
go for to be fair, just getting Diarra and Siddiqui in the goal contributions now would help.
yeah.
You don't necessarily need an out and out number nine. I mean, Brobby for me is doing a phenomenal job. These last few games when he's been involved, he is doing what you want him to be doing, other than putting the ball in the
Mhm.
back.
Yeah.
But
But if you remember as well, just before obviously we move on to the next bit there, in regards to what you're saying about Diarra, before Diarra got injured, he was pretty much getting, by the looks of it, he was getting closer and closer to getting a goal. He just by the looks of it, he just loves a shot from outside the box and just loves a little bit of a rocket. So clearly took a leaf of Granit Xhaka's book of just an absolute thunderbolt from outside the box. So more to come, hopefully.
exactly. But I mean, do we take anything else from the Brighton game? It was a draw. It was a 0-0. There wasn't really much else to sign or sing or shout about in the game, really. Like I say, a more clinical finisher, and that might have been a different score either way.
Mhm.
So let's talk Leeds.
Mhm.
Obviously, both teams came up. They came up on the 100 points. We fluked the playoffs, if they are to be believed. Um, what do we think? Obviously, firstly, actually, before we talk about Leeds, no Boxing Day game, lads. What on earth is that all about? It's a tradition, isn't it? Boxing Day has always been football. It's normally eating leftover turkey and football. But because of Sky and they're panicking about having so many live televised games, they won't do it on Boxing Day. That's why everyone's playing. Well, there's one game which is on Comedy Central, which is obviously Manchester United versus Newcastle on Boxing Day. Um, but in terms of actual Premier League teams, we've all got to wait till the weekend.
Oh well, still we wait till the weekend and we'll still be above them regardless if they win or not.
Robin, you forget about these 24 points.
Well, that's just it, lads. Do we think we have done enough to prove that actually getting promoted is what matters? It doesn't matter if you do it through the playoffs or automatics. Getting promoted and doing what you need to do is more important than being in the top two. Because Burnley, right now, are probably one of the teams in the danger zone. They're going to put up a good fight, but they are in the relegation zone.
Well, yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, sensibly, it's Wolves and one more. Burnley, West Ham, Forest, whatever it is going to be. Um, yeah, it is about getting promoted. It's then about the recruitment working right, getting the right players in. We can't legislate for what the other club's done. We've obviously gone in with a plan. We've obviously been very sensible, like I said previously, with the way that we've got players in cheap and we're well within our PSR. Whereas, Burnley have probably had to be a little bit more careful from what happened where they went up before, come down and gone back up. They've got an extra year of it to account for. But, the whole structure of who we brought in compared to what they brought in, we've gone for players which, they're young still, but these players aren't from the Championship. These players are from European teams that have been playing Champions League football.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, our recruitment has been absolutely phenomenal. Whether it's Speakman, whether it's Shizolfi, obviously Kirill himself getting involved with certain things. That side of the club's just, blown us out of the water, really. And I think that's what's put us in the stead that we are. Because without that recruitment, if we had gone like Ipswich did last season, with getting the best of the Championship and failing miserably, we would have been, probably round near Burnley or Wolves at the moment.
Mhm.
The fact that we've gone for a completely different type of player, which has probably thrown a lot of these other teams, not expecting us to do that sort of business. I mean, there's no way that the players we brought in weren't on other people's radars. But we managed to get the deal done, whether or not they thought, it's a bit of a risk, he's played in the Belgian league or he's played in this league, but we've shown over the last few years that we can find these gems. Yeah, we've had some that haven't worked. Obviously, Leon Djaku for one.
Mhm.
Look, we all loved his mum being there, but it would help if the lad was a bit better of a footballer. Things like that. You get a miss on some of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bar completely forgotten about.
Mhm.
There's others there. Ian Paveda. Timothy Pembele and stuff like that, where we have got it slightly wrong, but we've taken the risks. But the thing is, though, we've got these players in really cheap, so it's not really affected us too much.
Mhm. No, like if I may jump in just before you give your bit there, Kev, I'm in a massive agreement with Robin there. Like the talent we've brought in is young talent, yes, but we've done the same as similar to what we did last year. We've recruited young, but this talent that we got in young, as Robin said, are actually talent that have played in a very high level. Like you look at stuff like, so say Talby has played at a high level and had what, Robin, you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, I think 5, 6 Champions League games under his belt at the age of only like 20-year-old. You've got then Noah Siddiqui, who's played at the highest level and actually won a league title in Belgium. And you just look at all the names of the talent and then how they've just recruited and they've just worked well. I think what possibly would teams were thinking was, they're going to come up. Yes, they'll spend. And I'll do this once again where I'm a massive agreement with Lauren. We're going to just do an Ipswich. We're going to just buy the best of the best from the Championship and say, right, prove yourselves in the Premier League. Go ahead, do what you can. And that's not what we've done. We've done our own little thing and it's worked in our favour to do the way we have.
I think the difference is when Ipswich did it, they bought the best of the Championship for the Championship, but to try and do it in the Prem. That's, for me, kind of when you go into like the Championship from League One and you buy the best of League One players to try and then compete in the Championship, you're just not necessarily punching at your level. I think with us, the difference being we bought players that were quite well established within teams in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Granit Xhaka obviously is our signing of the season, but you look at what his background was, Arsenal and everything he did for them, then obviously goes to Leverkusen, goes invincibles with them, and then joins Sunderland on a project of I want to keep them up and keep them alive. And actually, we've probably smashed that out of the park. Robin Roofs. If you don't pick Jack for his sign of the season, it's probably Roofs. And that's what it's made. We've gone and got those sort of players in to establish ourselves in the Premier League. These players aren't here for 1 year. These players are going to be here for, I hope, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the problem. The likes of your Calvert-Lewins, for me, that's probably a season. He's probably going to stay with Leeds this year to try and resurrect his career. If they go down, he's going to want away. If they stay up, which, to be honest, out of the three of us, other than us, Leeds are the ones that might stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like Robin said a minute ago, it's probably Burnley and Wolves that are the more confirmed out of the sides. But, is he going to stay at Leeds if they stay up? Or is he going to have used them as a stepping stone to re-spark his career? Because obviously he's had a ropey couple of years. Another player you could comment on is Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
He's had a ropey couple of years at City. He's jumped ships and gone to Everton, where he seems to be having a glow up and everything seems to be going great again. That's what it is for me. When we talk about the squad we've built, it's a phenomenal team of individuals, but we've actually managed to glue them together and make a team. Because that was one
Mm-hmm.
thing everyone said. Oh, you've bought 14 players. Are they going to fit? Is it going to work? Well, Rajiz has done that, and I would say Jack is probably a part of that as well. Because even the likes of Rig came out the other day, didn't he, and said actually one of the most influential people to date
Yeah.
has been Granite in terms of the role model and leader that he is. But look, this is a conversation to have during the next international break about how far we've come in the year. Obviously, focus turns to Leeds. What can we expect from them other than it being Leeds?
I think if I can just jump in, I think they're going to be physical. I think that's going to be a given, regardless of whether Leeds can actually play football or not. Is a different story because to me, I think they can't. All they know is how to use 2-foot tackles. But I think it's going to be a physical affair, as you mentioned before. Calvert-Lewin is in and amongst things at the minute in trying to resurrect his career. He is a handful. He's not just a person that can just waltz through. So I think the defence has to be on guard for that, which I think they will be. And then they've got dangerous wingers as well. And obviously, I think the lads will be up for it as well, because obviously there's a certain little flutter of a magpie in there as well, who the lads will want to make sure he's not in the game for long, Mr. Longstaff. But I think it's going to be one of those where, to me, it's going to be close, but I think we just need to match their physicality in the game.
I don't see that as an issue whatsoever. I think we're quite a physical team now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
And,
people keep complaining about.
I think people are realising that. I think they might be the ones that are worried about our physicality.
Mm-hmm.
We've got beasts all over the pitch really now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got obviously Roofs who commands this area, no problem whatsoever. You got at the moment Ballard and Alderete in the middle, which are absolute beasts of men. You've got Mukiela there as well. You've got Hatrauda, you got Xhaka, you got Brobby. You've got a spine that's probably one of the strongest in the Premier League of actual physical players. And then obviously you've got, the skill players out on the wings and stuff like that. But yeah, they can hold their own. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I do see it being quite a physical battle. What's going to be interesting to me is whether or not Leeds are going to stick with the 4-4-2 that they switched to recently and been really fruitful with scoring a load of goals.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're going to switch back to one up front, and how is Regis going to set us up? Is he going to set us up thinking they're going to have two up top and want to go sort of like five at the back as such? Or do we match them up, with 4-3-3 or something like that? Or even ourselves go two up top?
Mm-hmm.
It's then that way it's going to be a really interesting game.
Can I just throw out there, just if we did go two up top, I know we've seen it once or twice this season already. If we do, this is one for both of you. Would you say bring in Mayenda and do say like a Mayenda Robbie, or would you say stick to the Wilson Robbie?
I mean, to me, it's Wilson and Probby. I think it's the experience there. I think my end. Look, I'd love to see him get an opportunity. I really would. And I think his pace is going to frighten teams.
Mhm.
I think he's going to get time during the season. Obviously, during the AFCON, where we're a bit short, I think he's going to get a bit more time.
Mhm.
But I can see him coming on and being more of an impact sub. I can't see him leading the line from the very start of the game. And I actually do think he might come on and play on the right hand side. You've got to think. We've lost obviously Traore, we've lost Talby. We've still got Dinger, we've still got Mundle. Yeah, Wilson can play on one side, Rig can play there. I mean, to be fair, Rig didn't really get involved too much in the game in Brighton. I think he was a bit lost out on the wing. I think he needs to be more in the middle of the park. But obviously, you're not going to take Enzo out to put him in. So I do think that my end might come in on that side. It'd be an interesting one. Look, I think the lad deserves an opportunity. I really do. But then again, there's a few more lads that haven't really played. Obviously, the likes of Dan Neil.
Yeah.
Rick got his start. Against Brighton. Hugh missed out on the starting 11. He's coming. Obviously, they're going to have to rotate. There's players which, unless they get suspended, like Granite. He's got 2 games now to avoid that yellow card that's been hanging over his head for 5-6 games now. He's got another 2 games to avoid that. It's going to be interesting, but this is why we've got that squad. This is why they brought in so many players, because I think realistically they looked at it and realised that if we don't bring in this amount of players with the quality and get some strength in depth on the actual bench as well, we're going to weaken the team. And the way that the Premier League is now, where you can name 9 subs and you can play 5 of them or whatever it is, you're unfortunately, them lads that finish the game are just as important as the lads that start the game that come on for them.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I was just wanting to see your guys' thoughts. Obviously, I'll let Kev have his little bit on it. It just that's my thoughts as well, Robin. I agree with you in regards to my end. I think my under speed is one of those that will put fear in certain defenders, because he can chop and change on both feet, can't he, at any given time, really. So I think that's enough to scare the defenders. Kev, if I can just get your thoughts on that one, but I just wanted to see what you think.
Sorry, I had to go and deal with the puppy, so I had to leave the room. Yeah, look, I can't remember where we were at, lads. What am I giving my opinion on?
The top 2, if we did start, as Robin give an idea, give his thoughts on there in regards to, if we did start a top 2, would you rather start like say a Brobby Mayenda, because obviously we've not really seen a Brobby Mayenda, or do you stick to what we've already seen this season of Brobby Wilson?
To be honest, it would work. I mean, I do feel really for Mayenda. I want the lad to get more chances. His contribution in the playoff final, his efforts to kind of be involved, but then he's just out of favour. Probably come in with the whole last minute of the transfer window, has got match fit, and now Mayenda can't even get off the bench. And I do feel for him. I don't see a way that Regis sets us up with a front 2. The only way I can see him doing it is resting the likes of Dengra and throwing either Wilson onto the wing or Mayenda onto the wing and doing it that way. But yeah, I would absolutely love Mayenda to get his chance against Leeds. It's probably the right kind of opposition to go with him on, but it's one of those, isn't it, where we won't know. Because, to be honest, what's Bobby done wrong to push him out the squad?
Exactly, yeah, that's the thing. It's a fun old one, and there's me just taking the helm of the pod when I'm not the host tonight.
Ah, look,
It's
at the end of the day, mate, you stepped in while I had to go and deal with Pooch. Running out of the room waving at you. I didn't know if you realised what I was saying.
uh, no,
Well,
I
to be
just
fair, I was going to
sorry,
do
Rob.
it, but I couldn't stop Adam talking. He just kept going on.
Makes a change.
Makes a change, mate.
Great minds there, Kev. Great minds.
Well, mate, definitely. Look, I mean, do we start to preview, well, give our predictions and stuff for Leeds? You know, yes, they won, was it 4-1 the other night, which is a freak performance. But like I said to you, lads, is it me or does it feel like they're just constantly playing at home? So
Yeah,
actually, you know, they're away, they're at our place, and hopefully we can get a result.
exactly. We are undefeated at home, so
It would just be the Leeds thing, though.
mm,
You know, the Mags were desperate to be the team that took that off us. It'll be our luck. It'll be Leeds that do it because obviously, you know, Burnley beat us at their place. So all we heard about was how clearly we've been humbled. So it'll
yeah.
be the Leeds way now to come to the Stadium of Light and do it to humble us. I mean, what's your
And the thing is, Leeds are a different team away from home. At home, they're really strong. Away, they're not so great. Hence why they are still near at the bottom. I think, with if they had their home record, if it matched their away record, they're probably up near where we are. So yeah, I don't think we're going to lose. I think they're going to give us a game. I really do. Um, but I can see us sneaking it. I think there's one goal in it. Um, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not actually going to give an exact score prediction because I can't think of how it's going to go. I've got an idea it might be 1-0, but there's just Leeds have got goals in them and that. But I do think that will come out on top.
Mhm. Yeah.
good point?
For myself, I shared it with you guys the other day. For me, I think it's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to be that, and I think Leeds will nick a goal. It's just the Leeds way, as Robin said, they have been scoring quite well, so I'll give them a goal. But I think we're going to come out 2-win winners. To be fair,
Fair play.
And
I mean, I'm currently getting bitten, lads. Sorry. No, for me, I just want another clean sheet for Roofs. That'd be a nice
Mhm.
Christmas present for him. And also, it'd be a nice way if we can keep Calvert-Lewin quiet because I think he probably is their threat. You know, I think that's what that everything's going to go through him.
Yeah.
And I think that's our biggest challenge, is keeping him quiet. The other thing we've got to bear in mind for this one, lads, is it's another fixture where Xhaka needs to keep his nose clean because we're heading towards not the reset point, but this is
no,
where it's
it's
hitting that point now where they get to go to 10, isn't it?
no, it's 19 games. We did cover this while you were sorting out the
Ah,
dog.
thanks.
Not yeah,
Ignore
He's
me
got
then, lads.
two more games.
So he's
Yeah.
got to avoid it now in City then.
Yeah, basically.
Oof, rough. I know that
Yeah.
wasn't the dog. Look, lads, I think that's been a cracking little pod. I think squeezed quite a lot into a short space of time when you think about what we've got coming up. You know, yeah, the festive period is mental. Obviously, we've got Leeds on Sunday, and then it's a quick turnaround to City on New Year's Day. So, gathering the three of us again to preview again will be fun. But to
Yep.
our listeners, look, thank you so much for listening in. Have an absolutely brilliant Christmas. To you two, have fun, stay safe, don't drink too much. Robin, enjoy the sparkling water.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. Well, look, Merry Christmas to you, Kevin, you, Adam, and obviously all our listeners. And we'll catch up after the Leeds game.
Yeah, man. Likewise, guys. Merry Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas to our listeners. I'll try not to drink too much. I'll take Robin's fair share for once.
I suppose the only other thing to say, lads, is mind the gap, and we'll catch you all on the next one.